Hello, everybody. I'm Jessica Vieira with the Greater Wasilla Chamber of Commerce, and I am here today with B. Rupright, Bernadette Rupright, one of the candidates for the City of Wasilla Mayoral seat for election this fall. And Bernadette, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and why you're running?
Thank you, Jessica. I will. My main purpose is to restore trust in local government. And we can do this with an open door policy and by eliciting the business community, but the citizens shall come first with me to make that clear how this is going to help the business community. If you have looked around, there seems to be very little involvement of the community in this city, as opposed to Palmer and with the events and the involvement. And that's a very important aspect. The citizens of the city must feel comfortable. We must watch out for our budget with them so they have more money to be in your businesses, because I am very concerned about let's call it the downturn of economy, and we don't know what might be happening in 2024. That's a big concern of mine, to make sure that all the residents are well and healthy, bringing up their standard of living. We want our town to become or retain or recapture hometown values. And that's a concern that I hear on the street. They're worried about becoming too much of a big city too fast. So that's another focus of mine. And of course, I have issues with traffic, and I'm sure that you all do. And actually, I mean, some people may not know that. Perhaps this group is more aware of that we don't own all of the roads in our city, but there are some things that administration can do right now, of what I'm hearing from the people for the speeding, use speed bumps. There is people running stop signs. There's some issues. A previous life, when I say that, before I was married and had children, I was a surveyor. I noticed all kinds of things with the roads. Besides the potholes, there's been line of sight issues. There's, as we've grown, we've kind of changed the roads, but some of that has actually caused hazards, like making left turns and having parking lots where you're entering into businesses where that's causing a traffic jam and could easily cause an accident, because they're stopping and turning into a business, and other people are flowing around what has now become a major thoroughfare. So those are the issues where I'm going to focus on, but I want you, this community, to know that by building up a community spirit, by tending to the citizens, keeping an open door, getting involvement, addressing the traffic issues, and number one, keeping the budget down in this crisis, this will uplift the whole community and the people in your businesses. I've actually noticed that, particularly with the restaurants, that business is going down. You don't see as many people out there spending extra money because there isn't extra money. And yeah, we need to keep a watchful eye on our budget always, even though the city of Wasilla is sitting in apparently a good situation. I want to make sure that the city is always run as if the wolf is at the door, because we don't want to be spending while we have money and then we run out. We have a finite issue here because our city is only so big. We always have to be careful. So I guess to just reiterate that we're going to be very proactive. And in fact, like you've never seen before, even though you don't know me, you will get to know me. And I want to hear your concerns, address your issues. I know that most of you don't get to vote in the city, but we are going to have an open door so that we listen to every one of you.
All right, so I have 5 questions for you today. Question 1 is, tell us about your plan for the first 90 days if you're elected.
Budget. So the budget will be due in May, so we get right in there, even though I'm coming in on the 94 budget, we're going to take a good look at that because obviously we're going to be getting ready for another budget, but immediately looking at where we stand with our projects, finishing projects, or making sure that they are completed, making sure projects are completed that are already slated, looking at that budget at that time so I can streamline it for the next budget cycle that is going on, and to utilize, to keep up with what I'm saying here, there are avenues in the city right now that I can reach out and get citizens involved. I want to approach all the groups. Let's try to get a plan going for the spring as far as the upkeep of the city. We're going to be putting a plan in place right there for what's going to happen in the spring, so we can start doing that as soon as the ground breaks. We're going to address the traffic issues. There are some things that can be addressed right away. Like I said, like maybe speed bumps in the neighborhoods. Many neighborhoods now have become thoroughfares. So as you know, our population's increasing, so they can get speed bumps. There can be hotspots, patrol hotspots in known areas. We can create portals where I can know immediately where these situations are, potholes. So I will address those two things immediately. That would be the traffic issues, and we'll be working on improving the city appearance and also looking at the Menard Sports Center to bring in more business and bring people into town.
Okay. So question 2 is, what do you think the city of Wasilla is doing well?
Well, I'd have to say there needs to be improvement in management. What is we doing well? We're doing well financially in regards to our tax dollars are growing, our revenue stream. That's what's doing well, but that is just an ism. So I'm running because I want to see a lot of improvement with how those tax dollars are spent. And I would say that as far as looking at the finances of the city, I'm not sure if you can redirect me in this question or not, but if that's what you're looking for, I do not have the CAFR, the comprehensive annual financial plan that hasn't been finished for 2022, and it should have been. So I can't get a really good look at that and see where we're doing well or at all in that area. That's a very important thing because funding, federal funding for future infrastructure projects are most important because we need infrastructure. We build the infrastructure and then we can build more. That's good for the community as we can afford it too. We always have to make sure that we can cover the cost of those expenses. But I will think of one thing, at least we got some money from the FFA for the airport, and the airport's very important to expand that out to 6,000 feet. So we can start utilizing that, and that can start generating revenue also.
So question 3, what do you think the city of Wasilla could improve upon?
I think it could improve on being more open to the public. I mean, more of an open door policy. It's quite difficult to get action, so to say, when you go down to City Hall. So there needs to be more openness there. That is paramount. We're going to have an open door policy, and we're going to get the whole community involved and uplifted to move us along, and that benefits everyone. You definitely have to have an open door policy.
Okay.
But, well, actually, that's the most important thing. That's actually what I'm running on, to get out there and be available and utilize every method that I do have available. There's some are in there to get the word out of what's going on, bring the community involvement, and that's going to be a blessing to this town.
All right. So our next question, question 4, is now that the city of Wasilla has a comprehensive economic development strategy, what do you think Wasilla will look like in 20 years?
I believe from the growth that we've seen in just the 26 years that I've lived here has been tremendous. So I should say that I want to tell you what I want it to look like. It's going to have the growth in the population, eventually maybe, but only by the peripheral boundaries. If people want to come into the city, they may or may not. I mean, that might be looked at way down the road. But what I want our city to look like is a first-class city with a powerful voice that will be heard. One of the problems that has occurred, I've had a lot of experience here. This is a time when I could put that in. Political involvement for 28 years, and government grinds slowly. But when we're all together in one voice, we can be heard. We can get the federal funding. We can involve the community in its upkeep. I want Wasilla to look like the first-class city that it is. So what should it look like? Well-groomed, vibrant, events happening. And that's how I see it. That's how I would like to see it. And what I'm mayor, I would like to address the forward options, looking at it, just 1 year down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. Where are we going?
Okay. All right. So question 5, it's the fun question. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Wow. I'm being this right now, or attempting to, serving my community. I've always wanted to do that. I love people. I have been a people person. I've worked in the public sector my entire life. And what I want to be when I grow up to this position as mayor is gracious. I think that's something that's lacking, a word and an atmosphere that goes with that word. I would like to emulate my mother and father, or a different generation. I was born a little bit later in their lives, and they were like, my mother was 43 and my dad was 49. So I was raised by another generation, and we need to bring that civility back. And that would be my main goal. And that's who I am. I've always wanted that. I want to see a government that functions within the confines of government, and not, well, with local government, it's not that bad, but if you understand what I'm saying, it's into a lot of things that are personal liberty choices. So my entire life, I've been involved in standing up for that. So this is the person that I want to be. Right now, I'm doing this. That's why I'm putting myself out there.
Thank you again, Bea, for joining us today. We'll see you again in a few weeks at our September 19th Mayoral Candidate Forum at noon at Evangelo's here in Wasilla. That event is free to attend. Lunch will be available for purchase. Please pre-register on our website, www.wasillachamber.org. Also on our website, you can find all the candidate videos, all the information about upcoming introductions, forums, and events that we have going on. Check out our Facebook page at Wasilla Chamber of Commerce. And make sure you stay up to date on everything that's happening with the Wasilla Chamber and the City of Wasilla. Thank you all for joining us again, and we will see you next time.